Hello and welcome to Not in My Backyard, the show that watches the news so you don't have to. And in case you have watched the news of late, which you would have had to because we weren't around yet, there will be one question that will be foremost in your mind. Are you a nationalist? Well, you're in luck, because we'll tell you. Now, the story of how Jawaharlal Nehru University Students' Union President Kanhaiya Kumar was arrested for sedition is a story that will be told and retold every time anyone is talking about what nationalism is. Because put aside all the rest, at the core, that's what this story is really all about. It's about nationalism. So, who is a nationalist, you wonder? Well, you better know, because we won't tolerate any anti nationals around here, and certainly not in my backyard. Which is why we've come up with a definitive list of exactly who a nationalist is. Yes, the first in the definitive list of things that makes you a nationalist is what you say. You must know the national anthem, like duh, all the national songs and national slogans, and you must chant them on all possible occasions, especially when you think someone is doing something anti-national. And what makes something anti-national? Well, if you suspect it's anti-national, it probably is. Yes, saying the right things and not saying the right things is crucial to being a nationalist. Don't understand what I'm talking about? Well, just take a look at this.
The tragedy is this, that in our country, there is a man called Lance Naik Hanumantappa of the 19 Madras Regiment. We are, and you will not speak over me when I'm talking about Lance Naik Hanumantappa. Please don't interrupt, and I'm cutting you off now for a minute. Can I please do that?
The third most important thing that makes you a nationalist is what you do. Suspect someone is being anti-national? Then it's your God-given duty, while chanting nationalist slogans, to pelt them with stones, heckle them, and get physical with them. Remember, if you don't, you are not a nationalist. Do you live the pure Indian lifestyle, not corrupted by all things Western? I mean, sure, you can use mobile phones and tablets, take to the Facebook and Twitter to express your nationalism, work for a multinational company, and even wear shirts and pants and shoes and ties. But if you do anything else that is not Indian, then you are not a nationalist. Yes, there's the Indian cuisine and then there's the nationalist Indian's cuisine. And the most important ingredient of the nationalist Indian's cuisine is no beef. Yes, to be a nationalist, you must have a beef with beef and with everyone who consumes this terrible, this sinful meat. Because while a cow is alive and starving on your streets, it is holy. But once it's dead, its meat becomes sinful. That's right. To be a nationalist, it is important that you call out Pakistan for all its faults and for some things that aren't, with each and every breath that you take. Because if you don't hate Pakistan with all your guts, you are not a nationalist. In fact, aside from hating Pakistan, the only real relationship you're allowed to have with Pakistan is if your ancestors were driven out of Pakistan. Yes, there's only one place in the world for people who are anti-nationals, and that is Pakistan. In fact, that is the reason why it was Atal Bihari Vajpayee who started the Samjhauta Express train to Pakistan. So, if someone says or does anything that you consider to be anti-national, even if you suspect it, there's a place on earth where you can send them to. That's right, there's a physical dimension for nationalism, and that is a 56-inch chest and a minimum 10-inch long penis. Because if you don't have these attributes, your nationalism is not real nationalism. And all nationalists naturally have a 56-inch chest and a 10-inch long penis, because that's just how nationalism is. And if you don't, you're not a nationalist. Now, whether it's a Desh Bhakt, a Ram Bhakt, a Modi Bhakt, or any other kind of Bhakt, being called a Bhakt should be the highest compliment a person can pay to you. In fact, whenever someone calls you a Bhakt, your chest should swell with pride to 56 inches. This is in fact a double check of your nationalism. Yes, perhaps the most important part of being a nationalist is not to have a Muslim name. In fact, despite the fact that we pride ourselves on having a diverse and varied culture, it is anti-national to be a Muslim and to have a Muslim name. So rid yourself of your anti-nationalism, rid yourself of your Muslim name, and get yourself a proper one. Meanwhile, for those wanting to show off their nationalism to others, Union Minister for Human Resources Development Smriti Irani, the quintessential Indian Bahu, has come up with another way of showing your nationalism. Now, following the JNU row, she called together the vice chancellors of 37 central universities and declared that all central universities must display the national flag on a mast that is 207 feet tall to prove that they are nationalist and to ensure that all the students are nationalist as well. So now we have a way to show exactly how nationalistic we are. And finally, when it comes to nationalism, there's even a lesson coming in from foreign shores. When asked by the American FBI to provide a way to crack into the San Bernardino attacker Syed Rizwan Farook's iPhone, tech giant Apple refused the US government, saying that it was against the right to freedom of speech and expression. Such anti-national behavior, believing that the right to freedom of speech is above nationalism. So the final test of nationalism is that if you still own an iPhone, you are not nationalistic. Well, that's all we have time for this week. Hope you enjoyed the show. Remember to be good nationalistic Indians and watch this show next week as well, because that's what all good nationalists will do. Thank you and good night.